This meeting is now being recorded.
Hi there, folks. I think we can kick off now, and anyone who joins a few minutes in will have the presentation to refer back to, and hopefully the recording as well, which we'll send out today. So this is the fourth of our May-ish webinars, and this one is focused on BusinessObjects Lumira. So again, an introduction to the European BI team led by Jeff, with Killian and myself on the functional side, and then Mark and Dominic on the technical side. The session outline today, we'll look at introducing BusinessObjects Lumira. We will launch Lumira. We'll acquire data sets through our connections. We'll do stories, build charts, enhance charts. In filters, we'll look at filtering a data set, a visualization, a story, measure, and input controls, and then look at saving and exporting, and have a quick recap at the end, and hopefully one or two questions. So again, where does Lumira sit within the BI reporting tools? So obviously we extract data from ECC into our business warehouse. Out of BW, we can use BusinessObjects Portal and the tools Webby's Analysis for OLAP or Lumira, or out of Excel, we can use Beck's Analyzer or Analysis for Office Excel. So for an introduction to BusinessObjects Lumira, what is it and what can we get out of it? We can gain insights from trusted enterprise sources and data. We can share visualizations, stories, and tailored analysis applications. We can connect, acquire, and manipulate the data, and we can work with live data, and we can display it in a visual format. So from here, I'm going to jump to Google Chrome. Now, normally, when we're promoting BusinessObjects, we will advise users to use Internet Explorer, as we have enabled single sign-on here. But we've discovered that some functionality is actually not available through Internet Explorer, so for the use of Lumira, I'm going to use Google Chrome. Now, you will need your BI password in order to access Chrome, because we can't implement single sign-on here. So I've already entered my password. And the couple of different ways of, I guess, accessing Lumira is on the home screen. So we have it in my applications here, or it's at the top of the screen, the drop-down arrow for applications, and choose Lumira Discovery. So it's now going to prompt us to enter in a connection. So here it defaults to SAP HANA, but what we're going to do is choose SAP BW. And then it shows up some recently used connections. So we can actually search for a specific BI technical query name. So if I enter just a shortened version of the BI technical query, it's going to show up with a lot of options, but we can be more specific. And we can see the one connection is listed there. Now, if I look down to the bottom right-hand side of this drop-down box, we can see the connect option is grayed out. Once I select the connection, we can see that now it's blue, highlighted, and we can connect. So now, like in OLAP, it's going to prompt us for our report parameters. So what do we want to see? Which company code do we want to look at? And what fiscal year or period do we want to look at? So simply enter in a company code, and we can see all the other mandatory prompts are highlighted. And now the OK button at the bottom right is highlighted, and we can proceed to our chart area, where we can look to build a story. So a story is a presentation style document that uses visualizations, text, graphics, illustrations, shapes, and other customizations to describe data. We can explore and analyze the data using filters, controls, calculations, conditional text, and other tools. A story may have a single visualization that we can see on screen at the minute, or it can have a page full of visualizations. So to show you an example of some stories, I'm just going to refer you back to the presentation, and bear with me while I scroll down to slide 10. So here we have an example of a story with different KPIs and different charts laid out. And then further down below, we have, again, some bar charts, pie charts, and some icons. We also have some previously built in here within BusinessObjects. So this will just provide you a flavor of the different types of charts that you can use Lumira for and the different stories that you can build. So how do we build a chart? Well, it works like OLAP. We can drag and drop measures and dimensions into the chart area. So measures are similar to our key figures in OLAP, and these are the numeric values, basically the facts that tell us how the business is performing. The dimensions are similar to the characteristics from OLAP reports, and these data elements can be numeric or text. Their common dimensions can be dates, such as calendar or fiscal based. It can represent aspects of an organization, such as key account managers, sales reps, or business aspects like plant, production line, or product, even customer level information. So in order to build our first chart here, we can see two scroll downs, one for our measures and one for our dimensions. So if we scroll down on our measures, I'm going to hover over net sales, and what I'm going to do is drag and drop net sales over our chart and just drop it in there. So that gets us up and running. Now I'm going to click on the chart itself, and we should see the maximize callout option here. So we know in our prompt parameters we put in our full fiscal period. So let's drag that into our y-axis and have a look at our net sales over the fiscal year. Again, drag and drop, hover over the y-axis. And there we can see now in the background that our net sales are displayed by fiscal period. P3 and P9 looking out as the good months and reflecting better than P7. So in the top right hand corner we can see additional functionality here. So we can put reference lines into it, we can choose colors, we can do conditional formatting, we can rank them, we can sort ascending or descending, we can have a look at our number formatting, we can enter calculations, we can clear all, but we can also do change chart type. So there's a number of different basic charts that can be used. So the column and bar charts are good for ranking and comparing categorical values, useful for highlighting comparisons between individual values. We could do line charts, which are good for highlighting temporal trends, i.e. values that change over time, useful for showing the relationship between trends. We could look at pie charts, which for segmenting display, useful for showing the proportion or percentage among a dimension. We could have a look at crosstab or table for overview of exact values and displaying multiple units of a measure. You can have a look at a map, useful if showing representations on a map for displaying geographic distribution. So something important in a globally managed organization such as ours. Again, a heat map would be for displaying distribution or how a measure is spread across a domain. And then numeric points, useful for displaying KPIs. So let's come back to a column chart. I think I've confused it now as to which chart it wants to be. I guess Lumira can be as temperamental as myself sometimes. Most are good days, but there is the odd off day in between. Okay, so take two. We'll try and select column chart again. Hopefully it will come back into a column chart. If not, I think my display through the charts, as I said, confused it, so I might just close it out and open a new one. Okay, so let's look at building a new chart. So there are three different options for building a new chart. The first being the insert chart option. The second can right click on the story page and click insert chart, or we can copy the one that we've just been on and then right click again and paste. And the positioning out of the pasted chart may be a little off symmetrically, so we can just drag and drop it as to where we want it to be. Again, we can drag and drop measures. Okay, we can see the net sales have highlighted again. Let's maximize again, so it'll bring up our y-axis. And scroll down to our fiscal period. Okay, so now we're back. Net sales by fiscal year period. So there is even more additional functionality to enhance your chart on the tool strip. So again, by minimizing, we can bring up the maximize option, the filters, sort, rank, reference lines, show or hide the properties, conditional formatting, export records, choose colors, clear all, cut, copy, delete. So there's a good bit here that provides you various functionality. Likewise, on the application toolbar itself, up at the top here, we've got the show or hide side panel. We have our save icon. We have our new data set. We have our edit report prompts, undo, redo, show or hide the filter bar, export the records, generate open document link, insert chart, and insert control. So if we were to look at filtering, we mentioned about filtering a data set, a story, visualization, measure, and input controls. So adding a filter to the data set limits the data in a report or after the data is retrieved from an external data source. So when you add a filter to a data set, all report parts or data regions use only data that matches the filter conditions. You can view and apply data set filters only in data view, and these are the initial prompt parameters entered, which limit the data retrieved from that database. So again, the connection we opened was the profitability analysis line item. We looked at company code and we put in periods 1 to 12, but you could reduce that down to look at only one individual fiscal period. So if I wanted to put a filter on the story itself, we can see we've opened the filter option here. So let's say we've got fiscal year periods in there, and we want to look just at specific fiscal weeks. So drag and drop fiscal week and drop it into the filter bar. And in time it will ask us which fiscal weeks do we want to look at. So let's choose 5 weeks and hopefully it'll just return P6 details for us. Okay, so that's filtering on the story. Again, if I had additional charts with data in here, it would also filter on that specific one. So let's try and drag net sales into here. And again, we can see that the filter is applied to just P6. Even quantity in cases. Let's say we just wanted to look at quantity in cases for just 1 week. We would maximize that chart. And let's look for a specific fiscal date. And we'll see now we just have quantity in cases for that fiscal date. We minimize again, and if we look to do a filter on our net sales measure within this chart here, let's maximize it. Choose the filter option. So we're going to look at net sales. So we're just dragging and dropping our customer group 1 into our y-axis of this new chart. Okay, and now it just needs a measure to display. Again, take the net sales, drop it on the y-axis, and hopefully now what we can see grayed out in the background will display for us. So we can see a little bit of retail, food service. Again, maximize this. So we can see for food service is up over 5 million, intercompany retail below 1 million. So if we just wanted to specifically look at food service here, we add a filter. It'll bring up whether we first want to filter on measures. Okay, so just hover over and scroll down to our net sales. That's the measure we want. And it's going to be based on, so it automatically comes up with based on customer group 1, we can do equals, not equal to, greater than, less than. So for now, let's just go greater than. And let's type in our value. So just entering 1,000,000, hit OK, and hopefully it will just return food service for us. Okay, so that's filtering on your measure in there. We could also have a look at some import controls. So dragging net sales onto our y-axis. I think I'm pretty sure I put customer group 1 on the x-axis, but I'm going to swap that out and take in our fiscal week. Okay, so there we can see breakdown of fiscal week for retail, food service, intercompany. Let's try and get rid of customer group 1 back into our data set, leaving just fiscal week net sales. Okay. And now we can see in the application toolbar, the input control option is not available currently. So again, we need to minimize within the chart itself. Have a little think about it. Okay, and now we can see our insert control option. So let's see. Let's scroll down. Now this is where we want to select our customer group 1, and it's going to come up with a few options what we want to do, whether we want to look for a text box, a drop down, a choice, or complex. So for this one, I'm going to choose a choice. And hey presto, it finally appears. Customer group 1 with some checkboxes there beside retail, food service. So for the next one, let's give a drop down one. for customer group 2. And come back into our design view, our mode view, in order to have a look at those insert controls and in order for them to be applied. So if we just wanted to select for food service, then the chart should update to reflect only food service. Okay, so we can see there our revenues have dropped. And then similarly from the customer group 2, drop down arrow, it gives a number of options there, whether it's in the convenience store, petrol, gas, or limited service restaurants, full service restaurants, and self-service restaurants, etc. So that's kind of a story built there now. So if you haven't switched off already, we'll go through a couple more things like saving, exporting, and then hopefully there might be a question or two. So let's choose the save icon. Now, kind of like of reports in OLAP, you must save these to your favorites. So selecting the favorites, select a folder location, and we can see in the right hand side the save is still grayed out. Now it's a live option to save. And we can see the pop-up document successfully saved. So if you've done up your charts and you want to present these, you can export to PDF. So beside the filter option, export, and you can choose how many pages or a specific page and whether to show the filters that you've used or not. And then a cross-tab option too. Select these and hit done. And there is an option to export to Excel or CSV if you want. You can right click on the charts and see the export records, but like basically it just shows you the figures in detail behind the reports, and I think anyone using this Lumira tool is using it for a visual presentation method. So I think the export to PDF function would be the most widely used here. And there we have. So we can save down the PDF, and you can have a look at the appendix. It's customer group 1, food service, and then our fiscal weeks. So taking back to our presentation, if you're still there. So quick recap being that we introduced BusinessObjects Lumira as a visual presentation of your data. We launched it, we acquired a data set, we had built a story which involved several charts, and we enhanced some of those charts and we put some filters on those charts. We saved it and we exported it. So I guess I can head back into Global Meet now. Hopefully no one's fallen asleep and that there might be a question or two there. Again, the chat function is available in the bottom left-hand corner. And while you're having to think about some of your questions there, let's have a look at those stories that we have built previously. So again, this is where you could get a sample of the Lumira story as done by SAP. with your numeric points here, and then a little scatter chart, pie chart, and then some columns, a little heat map too. And then here is one prepared earlier just on invoice sales, and you can filter these on specific vendors, customers, materials, etc. Okay, well, sure. Look, if there's no questions, you know where to find us. I've given you reminded you of who the team is, being Jeff, Killian, myself, and then Mark and Dominic. We're available in the Arista directory, or you can always create a ticket through ServiceNow. And I'm sure Killian and Jeff will be planning more Lunch and Learn webinars for us in the future to come. Thanks very much and have a great day.